All right. So welcome, Bella. Do you mind telling me a bit about yourself, your name, where you had your primary education, high school, all the way to the university?
Okay, my name is Rosebella, and my primary education was in Happy Home Academy. Then
Okay.
for my senior high, I went to Mfantsiman Girls at Cape Coast, and
Okay.
then my uni, I was at Kwame Nkrumah University. I did statistics at Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in Infantiman, what program did you study?
I did business, so no, okay. I
Okay.
just knew I didn't want to do science, so I didn't want to do visual arts. I didn't want to do home econ. So then it was left with just general arts and business.
Okay.
So that's how I landed into it.
All right. So at KNUST, you said you did
Mhm.
statistics.
Yes.
So how easy was it for you from a business background going into statistics? Was it part of the requirements that business students could apply to that program?
Yes, because in KNUST, the STATS program was kind of new. We
Okay.
were the second group of students to be
Oh, okay.
admitted.
Okay.
And then if you know anyone in the business program, you know that your options for the uni courses are very limited. So I saw statistics. That was even at the end when I was done choosing my courses. I just chanced upon it in the book,
Okay.
and then I selected it and I got it. It wasn't anything difficult because it's more like you starting something new. So it wasn't anything related to business, or so you
Mm,
just take it fresh, like, so it wasn't anything difficult. It's just starting something new. Yeah.
okay. And so after your undergrad, what did you do?
So um when I was doing the undergrad program, I always knew I wanted to travel abroad for my education. So when I got to final year, my boyfriend at the time was a TA. So then
Okay.
he also had that thing to travel abroad for his masters.
Okay.
So I kind of got people around me who were um, all geared towards doing their masters abroad, and then it
Okay.
just stirred up that thing in me to pursue what I wanted to do. So um, when I finished, just before finishing, you see the national service stuff.
Okay.
We were asked like if you wanted to be a TA, you can put your name down, and so
Okay.
um, I did. I put down my name, and then my my thesis advisor at the time, he was a math professor. And then he
Okay.
was kind of like the only person that I was close to. So I
Okay.
was kind of contemplating on contacting him to be his TA. But then by God's grace, he called me and then he asked, like, how are you doing? What do you want to do for national service? And I was like, oh, I was thinking of being a TA. He's like, do you want to be my TA? I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay.
So yeah, it worked out for me, and then I became a TA. So during my national service period, I was a TA, and then I used that period to write my GRE and
Okay.
then do my school applications, and then got into one school and then came here. Yeah.
All right. So which school did you get into for your master's?
For my master's, I got University of Idaho. It's in the state of Idaho. That's the northwestern part of the U.S.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then going to Idaho, what program did you read for your master's?
It was also statistics.
Master's in
It was
statistics. All right.
yes, yes,
And with your application, you said you took the GRE. Did you have to
right.
take any other exam? And with the application, what documents
Mhm.
did you need?
So so let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
I applied to maybe like 5 schools or 6 schools,
Okay.
and some of them needed GRE, some of them didn't need GRE.
Okay.
And I didn't want to limit myself to just the schools that didn't
Without
want
GRE.
GRE. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's the reason why I took it, because even if the school doesn't require you to like take the
Mm-hmm.
GRE, if you add it to your materials, it kind of like bumps you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the reason why I took the GRE.
Okay.
And I just, some schools required TOEFL, but then I didn't see why I should write
Mm-hmm.
TOEFL because I come from an English speaking country.
Okay.
So I didn't write TOEFL. I
Okay.
just did the GRE. So even the school that I got, they didn't require the GRE, but then
Oh, okay.
they didn't require the GRE. I just added it to it, and then so during the application process, it was the GRE. You write your statement of purpose. Some schools also require, is it personal statement? Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need your CV. What other things? And letters of recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those are basically the generic things that you need in applying. Yeah.
All right. And so coming to your master's, were you
Mm.
funded for the program? Were you funded to be in it, or were you paying out of
Yes.
pocket?
So I was funded.
Okay.
So but my funding came very late. Mine came in May.
Okay.
But then yeah, so that's one thing that we should put in mind. Like if anyone is out there looking to apply, it's gonna differ depending on the
Okay.
schools that you apply to. So if you apply to those top schools that is very competitive, then
The funding
for
might take a
some,
while.
yeah, it might take a while, or you might not even get it at all. So you have to be very strategic in the type of schools that you choose. So it mine came in May, and then um I'm trying to remember like the amount. So supposedly it's like fully funded, but
Okay.
then they're gonna pay you like a stipend,
Okay.
and but then the tuition they were not paying the in-state tuition or something.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to get a bank statement to show that, oh, I could balance the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the tuition. But then it wasn't even a substantial amount. Well,
Okay.
it is a substantial amount, but then when I sent the bank statement for the visa interview, they didn't even look at it, because when they compared like how much I'm supposed to pay for the year and then how much funding I'm getting, and then the difference, it wasn't
That
really
much.
much that required them to even look at the
Okay.
bank statement.
Okay.
Yeah, so it didn't. But then luckily, when we got to the school, I met one Ghanaian couple, and then she had been there like doing her PhD for a while, and then she advised that we contact the graduate school. So we
Okay.
actually had to write an email to the graduate school asking for help
Okay.
with the extra amount that
The
we had to
difference.
pay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I think 2 weeks or a month after we went to the school, and then we were emailed that they've given us, we were supposed to pay like $4,000 or something. So they told us they were giving us 2,000 to
Okay.
offset the, yeah. So I told them to just divide the money and then pay 1,000 for the first semester and 1,000 for the
1,000 for the
second
second.
semester,
Okay.
because by God's grace I had the 4,000
Already to pay.
difference, yeah, to pay. So I just told them to divide the money up. And then by God's grace also, when we got to the spring semester, they give us extra 2,000.
Oh, okay. So you took care of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, it took care of everything. So
So, what kind of funding was it? Was it like a research assistantship, a teaching assistantship? What was it?
it was a teaching assistantship. It was a
Oh,
teaching
okay.
assistantship. Yeah. And for my school, like my old school, the teaching assistantship, it didn't require me like to actually teach the class.
Okay.
We had like a tutoring center that you literally just go sit there and then wait for the student to come, and then you tutor them.
That's nice. All right. So, from your master's, what did you do? Did you work after your master's? What did you do?
No, I didn't work after. I graduated from the master's last year, like May 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't want to take a break. I decided that I was going to wait till I'm done with PhD before like going into the work field. So I just did school applications. I didn't even apply for any job. Like,
Okay.
no, I did only school applications, and then I got a school, and then I started the PhD last fall.
Okay. So, what school did you get into? And then also, um, when did you submit your application? Because you said you graduated in May 2019, and you still started your PhD same year, 2019. So around what time did you submit your application? And then which school did you end up in?
So I started my applications like the fall of 2018. So I had a book with the names of other schools and then their deadlines.
Okay.
Normally there are two deadlines, like
Okay.
deadline for application and then deadline if you want to be considered for scholarship.
Okay.
So you have to like jot everything down and then
Hmm.
be on track with everything, like the school, this deadline, this. So I had that, and for some of the schools, I'm doing biostatistics now, and
Okay.
biostatistics, almost all the schools have deadlines to be 1st December. All the schools wanted me to do that KNUST CWA conversion to GP.
Okay.
So I had to pay WES to do the conversion of
Evaluation.
my undergrad transcript. And
Okay.
then that takes time.
Okay.
So I sent the thing in July, and like 17th September, that
Hmm.
is when Tech did their part.
Okay.
That's when Tech like responded to WES that, oh yeah, da da da. And then WES contacted me on 19th September
Okay.
that
So
it
two
has been
days.
approved.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then they mailed me the actual like converted
Okay.
GPA. Then I scanned it and then added it to my application.
Okay.
And I'm currently at UAB, that's the University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Okay.
And I was contacted by them, I think like December ending.
Oh, okay. That's very early.
Yeah, yes. They contacted me December ending. And then in January, they asked me to send the actual KNUST transcript
Transcript
again.
instead. Okay.
Yeah, even though I
You had
had
brought the converted
sent the,
one.
yeah, so I sent it to them, and then like 26th January, I got the admission.
Oh, okay.
And then I was told to come in for an interview. So
All
I
right.
scheduled the interview, and then, yeah.
Oh, which means you actually got the admissions even before you graduated from your master's program.
Yes,
Oh, that's
yes,
interesting.
yes,
That's in,
yes,
all
yes.
right. And so also with your PhD, how was the funding? Were you paying out of pockets? Was the school funding you? How was everything?
A PhD, you can't pay out of pocket.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm being funded. So I didn't even contact any professor to ask them about their research because I knew that it would be a lie if I told any professor that, oh, I'm
I'm
interested in
interested in
your
your
research.
work.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. So I didn't bother. So I was like, so you should have a TA position.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay with a TA position. So during my interview, I asked them, it was a video call thingy with,
Okay.
they were like a committee of 4 people, and they took turns like asking me questions. So that's when I asked them, because I didn't really remember if there was a part that I had to take that, oh, I want to be a TA. So
Okay.
they're like, oh yeah, you will be funded, but then they have to sit and then decide which
Where
kind
to
of
place you?
funding they wanted to give you.
Okay.
So they asked me if I had a preference like for TA or RA.
Okay.
And for RA-ship, I had done an internship with one company that I had like I was their like research assistant or something. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of had like experience in both.
Good.
So I told them I didn't have any preference. Anyone
Okay.
goes. Yeah. So I was expecting to get like a TA or RA because they asked me. But then when I got the scholarship letter, it said Blazer Fellowship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so it was a fellowship, and I knew I didn't apply for any fellowship, so I was kind of like skeptical, like, are you sure I'm the person supposed to get this?
Okay.
Because in the letter it said no duties are required of you. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, this is wrong. So
Okay.
I had to contact like the department to speak with the department chair. So we set up a meeting like to call. And then I spoke to him and like, I got this letter and then it says this, but I just want to be sure, like,
It's
is it
actually for you.
me? Yeah.
Okay.
And then are you sure like the duties, you said no duties? I said, oh yeah,
Oh
You're not
wow.
required to do anything. Just show up, go to class, and
Okay.
yeah. So tuition fully paid, and um stipend every month, and health insurance covered for. So
Okay.
I'm like, okay, are you expecting me to get like a 4.0?
Okay.
Because I'm not the person to actually want to be the best in class, or I don't aim to. So far as I'm doing good, yeah, I don't aim to be. So if you want me to get 4.0, I'm not promising you. And then he was like, oh no, just graduate school 3.0 is, yeah, you're good to go.
Okay.
I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Yeah, so fully funded fellowship, yeah.
Okay. So, with your master's and your PhD, in your
Hmm.
applications, how did you even know about the funding opportunities? How did you know they even existed in the first place? Was it someone that told you about it, or you actually had to read online, doing the search by yourself? How do you find it? How do you find the funding opportunities?
Um, I guess because I knew about funding before applying for my master's.
Okay.
It all depends on like the people you surround yourself with,
Okay.
right? If you have people around you that I want to go to school abroad, then you talk to them, then they show you like, oh, do this, do this, do that.
Okay.
Because I didn't know there was funding. Everyone is thinking about, oh, how do I pay out
Mm-hmm.
of pocket? Yeah.
Okay.
But then applying for my master's, that's when I got to know that, oh, there's actually funding opportunities.
Okay.
There are TA ships, there are RA ships. You have to ask,
Okay.
or if you don't ask, when you're filling the forms, is there like the application form? Do you want to be considered for an RA? Do you want to do this? And you have
Okay.
to like dive into like the department website,
Okay.
because in Idaho, even though they ask you, do you want to be considered for a TA ship? You take yes, you get the admission, but then if you had not dug into the website, you wouldn't know that after getting admission and you want to be considered for a TA ship, there's actually like
Another
a different
application.
TA form that you have to fill
Okay.
and then submit.
Okay.
So if you don't do that,
You
you're
wouldn't
not
be
getting
considered. Oh, okay.
yes. So you have to I always used to like sleep on the department website. Like I know every
Okay.
single thing, every type of scholarship that is in the department. Oh, are you
Okay.
qualified for this? Are you qualified for that? Because sometimes some of them are not like for us internationals, it's for like the citizens.
Okay.
But then I know that TA ships and RA ships is like open.
Okay.
So if I'm not sure, if I can't find anywhere like on the department website that is saying something about TH or RA ship, I email the department chair
Okay.
that, yeah, I used to contact them a lot.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, ask about the program, like let them know that you're really interested.
Okay.
And then I asked that I was on the website, I was looking for this particular thing on funding, but then I couldn't find it. Could you please direct me to the correct link to use?
Okay.
Then they'll tell you, or you can ask about other funding opportunities, like if there's no TA-ship or RA-ship, there's administrative assistantship.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that one, you just help with the admin of the whole department. It's nothing academic
Mm-hmm.
like work. Yeah. So you ask them, and then so far as you ask, then they will tell you. They might not come up and then offer up like, oh, this is it. If you ask, then they'll tell you. So sleep at the department websites, and just I check the student handbook. That's one thing. I don't know if a lot of people do that. I
Okay.
I I search student handbook.
Okay.
Then so I go to my department. Mine is under School of Public Health.
Okay.
So I go to School of Public Health, and then I check for Biostats department. Then Biostat department, I search for student handbook. So it should
Okay.
have everything about the program.
Okay.
That it has the requirements for the program, like ending, how to end your masters, how to end your PhD. All this, there's like candidacy exams and all that, all the courses you're supposed to take. So I
Okay.
go there, and then you find if there's funding, they'll mention it there. If
Okay.
there's not, you have to ask them.
Okay. All
You
right.
have to ask them. So that's what I did. Yeah.
All right. And so you said you took GRE before you actually applied for your master's program.
Right.
So for your PhD, did you use the same GRE application or you had to rewrite another one?
I use the same thing. Like GRE is not the only thing they look at.
Okay.
They look at your CV and the things that you've done. So I'm like, I've done quite a bit of things. So if GRE they think is too low, other
Other
things should
things would
speak
push it
for
up.
me.
Okay.
But then with that, you have to be careful because some schools, GRE is the number one thing. They look
Okay.
at that before any other thing because I was rejected from one school in Kentucky just because the
Oh,
GRE,
GRE.
yeah, they didn't look at any other thing. So
Okay.
you can ask them,
Okay.
you email graduates, the graduate chair, like the department chair, and then ask them that with all the materials that you're being asked to submit, if they should list in terms of like priorities to them, what would they think is the most important that you should focus on? So if it's the GRE, then you know that you have
You
to
need
get
to.
a really
Okay.
higher like score
All right.
before, yeah.
All right. That's interesting. All right. And so, what do you have for your junior colleagues pursuing their undergrad in statistics back in KNUST? I don't know if it's only KNUST that offers that program, but okay, then let me ask this before I even end.
Sure.
So, with your master's in statistics, I know
Mhm.
KNUST has bachelor's in mathematics and actuarial science. Can these different courses, people pursuing these courses, can they also apply for a master's in statistics or
Oh
a
yeah.
PhD in statistics?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we kind of do the same thing as I said, but it's not really the same, especially when you get to math. But then
Okay.
they can equally apply
Okay.
for, because I have a lot of the actual my mates, for instance, who were also T's, a lot of them, almost all of them didn't, when they were applying for their masters, they didn't apply to an actuarial program because
Okay.
in actuarial science, you don't really need like a higher degree. You just need to pass. They have like the societies
The certification
that you
exam
need.
kind of.
Yes,
Okay.
those are ranked way higher than if you have the degrees and you don't have the
That particular thing.
certifications. Yeah, so
Okay.
most of all of them actually apply for masters in statistics, and then
Okay.
whilst doing the masters in statistics they were writing their professional exam.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, they just get the masters, and then by the time they are done with their masters, they're done with most of the actual papers and then
Okay.
get a job, and then that's it. So if
Wow.
you're in math, stats, actuarial, you're qualified because we need calculus and is it algebra?
Okay.
We all do like a lot of like calculation stuff,
Okay.
which is what is really necessary.
Great.
So you're all qualified.
All right, then I would make my question a bit like it will be broader than before. So, what do you
Okay.
have for students in KNUST who have, in one way or the other, taken algebra, calculus as part of their undergraduate courses? What message do you have for those who have interest in pursuing a career in academia, specifically probably a master's in statistics or a PhD in statistics? And what message do you have for
Mm.
them?
Um, if you have an interest, I'm assuming you're thinking about leaving, like traveling outside to also come do your. So I believe you should be very focused on like what you want to do because you there's a lot of distractions, like especially if you don't have friends that want to do the same thing as you might seem like the odd one out, and then
Hmm.
just focus on what you want to do.
Okay.
You know you want to do your masters in statistics. Luckily we have the internet that you can contact people who are ahead of you and have gone through the same, and then know what they did.
Okay.
Just as I said, you don't, well, I was a TA, you don't need to be a TA. So if you want to be a TA and then let it like bump up your application, start, if you're in second year, third year, start being friends or cordial with your professors
Okay.
so that when it gets there, they would even want you to be their TAs.
Okay.
That's where it starts from. Then you get the teaching experience from there.
Okay.
And then you can do your school application. It's just, to me, it's just like the focus.
Okay.
I know I want to do this.
Okay.
There's Cyril is here. You can always contact him. And as we are doing this video also, we've all talked about like things we do or we did for us to get to where we are. Just stay focused and then make sure like your grades are really up there. Like take every single thing serious, because I know some people when you're doing like midterm and stuff like that, mm, mm, it's just the exam that, but then it all counts.
Mm-hmm.
So every single thing we should take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions. Use the internet. If you're being taught something in school that you don't get, YouTube is there. There are lots of videos. You have to make sure you understand what you're doing to be able to build on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I find myself doing stuff and then I, I'm supposed to know this, but I don't really understand.
Understand.
I now have to go back, watch a video. No, you have to get a solid foundation. Really sit down, make sure you are getting every single thing that you are being taught, even if you think it's not necessary. It is necessary. That's why it's part of the syllabus. So take everything serious, take your study serious, have a plan, write everything down that you want to achieve. Talk to Have at least one professor that you know will not like shut you down when you're trying to talk to them about like this future plan that you have, and make sure you're taking all the necessary steps, doing your research into the areas you want to get to. Yeah, I hope I made sense.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Bella, for taking time out of your busy schedule to, share your experience with me and other people who would be watching this video.